Big game tonight, Arsenal against Huddersfield, kicks off 7:45. Other big games are Bournemouth, Burnley, also 7:45. Chelsea, Swansea, also 7:40. Everton, West Ham, probably the biggest game of the night, 8 p.m. City, Southampton, 8 p.m. and Stoke, Liverpool, 8 p.m. And, of course, we'll be here on the back of those, 6 games in the Premier League to take your calls on. We're going to focus on one of them. Obviously, you just heard from Arsene Wenger, so that means we'll focus on Arsenal against Huddersfield. It looks on paper like it should be 3 points for the home side. Let's get the view now of the host of ArsenalFanTV, Robbie Lyle joins us. Morning, Robbie.
All right, Rob.
Morning. How you doing, you guys?
Yeah, you must be delighted with the football already, having seen Leicester.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Well, I thought they were going to win the league, huh? The title contenders, shift in power and all that, you know? But I don't want to say too much because we ain't played yet anyway.
Just in case.
But, you know, the shift in power, I don't know. I don't know what's happened to that shift.
It was always premature, Robbie, wasn't it? But, you know, the shift in power will only take place when Spurs win something, and that's not going to happen anytime soon, is it?
Hold on. You're always bigging them up, aren't you, over Arsenal?
Well, I said they'd finish. Hold on, I said they'd finish above you last season. We had a £100 bet that I believe has still not been settled.
It's there for you to collect, mate. You know what I mean?
It's for charity. I'm just waiting for you to.
Hold on. You're always bigging them up, right? Now, and I've said that to you in the past, that he ain't won nothing yet. He's a good manager, but he hasn't won nothing yet, and you're still always bigging him up like he's, you know, what have they won? What have they won? He's
got a point, Joe.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, can't argue with that. But that's, I mean, even more embarrassing. They finished above you.
Well, one season out of God knows how many. You know, it's going to happen once every now and again.
That's true.
So, you know,
true. But let's concentrate.
I just feel that they've been overhyped, but you know, they are a good team, but overhyped.
Okay, well, let's concentrate on your boy. You just heard Arsene Wenger there talking, and it's not often I hear Arsene Wenger talk about the opposition quite like that. He's showing real respect for Huddersfield there.
Well, I hope we do, because, you know, as we can see in the Premier League this season, if you don't show respect to these teams, they can beat you. They beat Man United, remember. I know it was at home, but they beat Man United. So you've got to have respect for all these teams. I mean, you know, even at the weekend when I was there at Burnley, I was very impressed by Burnley, the way they played. You know, they were very brave in the first half. So if you just look on these minnows and think they're going to be a pushover, you get done.
Yeah, it's true.
Let me ask you about Arsenal's home record, because it's been pretty good of late. They're unbeaten in the last 13 home matches. They've won the last 11, kept 9 clean sheets in those 13 games. I mean, Arsenal, they're looking, I wouldn't say unbeatable at home, but they're looking as good as they've looked for a long time, Robbie.
Yeah, at home we've been decent. You know, I mean, it's been away from home where we've been very poor this season. But at home, you know, that's why I was very surprised when, before the Spurs game, that people were making them favourites. I mean, I was like, I know Spurs were coming into that game and they were playing really well, but I was like, are they people kind of ignoring our home record? Because at home, they haven't been spectacular, to be honest. We haven't been blowing teams away, but we've been getting the job done, and we're quite strong at home. So, yeah, our home record's good, but these are the sort of games tomorrow that, you know, or tonight, shall I say, that you really have to be on the front foot from the start and play at the same intensity, like if we're playing a Spurs or a Man United, because if I've seen Arsenal many a times sort of take these games too lightly.
Yes.
And, you know, and if you do against, you know, I think we've seen it, not just at Arsenal, but throughout this season so far, that, you know, especially some of these teams that have come up, you know, they're pretty good. You know what I mean? They'll give everything. So,
Rob, let me ask you about some of your key players this year, Sanchez and Ozil, of course. You know, it looks like they'll be able to leave, for free if you don't sell them in January. What's your view on what your club should do with these players?
Well, my view is that now they may as well hold on to them, because, you know, they've already, you know, they messed up 18 months ago when they didn't sign these guys onto new deals. I mean, Ozil, Sanchez, and Wilshere as well, remember. These guys all, you know, with less than, you know, 6 months remain, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know how we managed to let that happen, but I just feel that now that it's come so far down, you know, we may as well just keep hold of them, unless, you know, there was a replacement out there that, you know, could come in immediately. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday about Nabil Fekir, the guy at Lyon. and we were saying that he would be a great replacement, say, for Ozil. But would Arsenal be able to get him, in January? Would they be able to get a Lamar, say, in January? I very much doubt it. So, for me, they've come this far now. They may as well hold on to them till the end of the season.
What about Mahrez?
They're still very important players for us as well.
Will you take
very
Mahrez?
important players, as you can.
Will you take Mahrez, Robbie?
I would take Mahrez. I rate Mahrez. I think Mahrez is a top player. I saw the goal he scored tonight. It was brilliant. He's a top player. I would take Mahrez, but I just think now that we've left it so long, and it's like when you get players in January, they take time to settle in. You lose a bit of momentum as well. Let's just, I'd say, hold on to we know. I think definitely Sanchez is going to go at the end of the season, 100%. Because he's in such demand, and if I was in their position, either of those players, I wouldn't want to go anywhere in January because they can go and get the signing on fee.
Yes, of course.
At the end of the season. So I think they'll hold on to them till the end of the season, but then they'll both go.
Robbie, tell us about what's happening just above Wenger at the moment. The chief scout has come in. There's been one or two changes. A technical director of football as well has come in, and perhaps there's been a shake-up. Is this life after Wenger that we're starting to see being planned now?
I think it is. I mean, both appointments have been really interesting. Both to do. We've known in the past that Arsene Wenger really, he's done the signings. He's had sort of total control over that sort of stuff, and we're seeing two guys coming in now that really that's been their jobs. To sign players. And. So I think there have been some fans suggesting that he might go by these signings are showing he might go by the end of the season. I don't think so. He's always seen out a contract right to the end, right throughout his career. So I don't see why he'd come all these years and then leave a year early. I really can't see that. But I do think that it's a long-term sort of succession. And it looks like with his blessing, from what I can see there, because, why would they be coming in right now? But I do think we are sort of seeing, what's going to happen in the future. And I look on it and I think they're positive moves, because I've always felt that we should have somebody, an expert who deals in the signing of players. And, of course, Dick Law, who used to do a lot of that, is going. So, it makes perfect sense.
Robbie, do you still sense that perhaps Arsenal are just 90 minutes away, the fans, from imploding? Or is it eased off? But you know what I mean. You're at the coalface. You understand exactly what these Arsenal fans say and feel because you're there. But it does, I do get the feeling that it's only 90 minutes away from another Arsenal fan TV rant, and it could happen tomorrow night. I just wonder whether or is it a little bit longer than that now? Has things calmed down a little bit?
Do you know what? Right, what it was that win over Tottenham and the manner in which we won that game, right? And I think that's calmed a lot of fans down. So even at the weekend when we was at Burnley, and it was obviously we scored like in the dying seconds of the game, but the fans. I've seen other games like that earlier on in the season where fans would sort of turn in and getting on Wenger's back, but they weren't. They weren't on Sunday. They were still with the team. They were still back in the team. There was no chance of Wenger out, nothing like that whatsoever. And I think a lot of that was because the fans were so happy with that performance against Tottenham, the manner of the performance, the way we played. That I just felt that there was a great appreciation as well that Burnley were a decent side, and there was a lot of patience shown. So I'm hoping now that that fans are going to be a bit more on his side. Okay. But if a lot against Huddersfield,
and it'll
turn them over back.
Well, go on. Before I let you go, Robbie, give me a quick prediction for that game, Arsenal v Huddersfield later on tonight.
I'm going to go for 3-0.
3-0. To who?
Yeah. 3.
Cheers, Rob.
And then we got your boys at the weekend.
Yeah, you're breaking up now. I'll speak to you again. Thanks, Robbie.
Cheers, Rob.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
There you go, the wonderful Robbie Lyle, the host of ArsenalFanTV. A reminder, not only is Arsenal against Huddersfield, a huge game of football tonight. There's others: Bournemouth v Burnley, Chelsea v Swansea, Everton v West Ham, City against Southampton, and Stoke v Liverpool. And the Sports Bar from 10 p.m. will be here as always to take your calls.